This podcast is a quest for well-being, a quest for a meaningful life through the exploration of fundamental truth. Enlightening ideas, insights on physical, mental, and spiritual health. The inspiration is love. The aspiration is to awaken new ways of thinking that can lead us to a new way of being well. Welcome to Body, Mind, and Soul Healing Conversations.
Every year, 18 million people worldwide are diagnosed with cancer. If you or a loved one is one of them, you know exactly how overwhelming, scary, and confusing it is to navigate the journey through diagnosis, treatment, prognosis, and all their accompanying emotions. Entrepreneur, business leader, IRONMAN triathlete, and 5-time cancer survivor Bill C. Potts has waged a 20-year battle against the disease. In his valuable patient and caregiver guide, he shares his personal cancer story and those of others, outlining everything you need to know to take on this fight. With empathy and honesty, Potts explains exactly what to expect and shares lessons and important tips you can put into action, all the way from diagnosis to treatment to remission to cure, and how to face setbacks on your road to recovery. You'll learn how to advocate for yourself, how to pick and manage your care team, and how to care for yourself emotionally and mentally. You'll find out how to make your treatment days more comfortable, manage side effects, and understand test results. You'll also find important information on diet, exercise, wellness, and staying active, as well as insights on how treatment and disease affects your immune system. With special sections for people wanting to support a loved one with cancer, facing and making peace with death, and recalibrating your priorities to get the most out of the life you have now. You'll gain the knowledge and tools you need to manage this journey from someone who is walking the path alongside you. Valeria interviews Bill Potts. He is the author of Up for the Fight: How to Advocate for Yourself as You Battle Cancer, from a 5-time survivor. Bill C. Potts has been married to his human for 32 years and is the father of 3 kids, including twin girls. His sweet dog Pippa is by his side often. He and his wife Kim are entrepreneurs and owned a Massage Envy and European Wax Center. Bill was a C-level marketer with a fun and rewarding career. This included work at Fortune 500 companies, a startup technology company, and the company behind the IRONMAN triathlon brand. Bill owned a marketing agency later in his career. His career highlight was working as the chief marketing and revenue officer of Clearwater Marine Aquarium, which was made famous by the 2 Dolphin Tale movies. Bill and Winter, the dolphin, had a great relationship. Bill even played hide and seek each morning with Hope, the dolphin. Bill loves to exercise, is an Ironman athlete, and plays tennis many times weekly. Bill is also the author of a book like What to Expect When You're Expecting, but for cancer patients. Bill is one of the world's leading experts on cancer from the patient's perspective, as he has beaten cancer 5 times, with number 6 in progress. He is very proud of his book, Up for the Fight: How to Advocate for Yourself as You Battle Cancer, from a 5-time survivor. The book is changing and saving lives. Guiding cancer patients and their families has become his life's purpose. He is busy doing it. Meet Bill at billcpotts.com. Here's the interview with Bill Potts.
In your own words, who is Bill Potts?
Yeah, Bill Potts is the luckiest guy that I know, having had the opportunity to beat cancer 5 times. Working on number 6 has really changed my perspective on life and given me really a life of gratitude. So yes, I'm a family guy. Yes, I'm a business person. Yes, I've got an amazing wife, great friends, but I really look at myself as grateful and fortunate and lucky.
How beautiful. And the interesting thing that I know you're using words to describe yourself, but your energy just came to me. That's exactly how it feels to talk to you by email, your book, now meeting you briefly off record as well. That's very interesting how there's more than just words, right? There's silent communication. So thank you for being that authentic self.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. Thank you for being your authentic self. Your show's amazing.
Oh my God, I love this. I always say that because it's true. I love meeting people like you. So let's talk about your book from the get-go. What is, just to give an insight for those who are listening, I would love to know the main intention and purpose of writing a book. The title is Up for the Fight, How to Advocate for Yourself as You Battle Cancer from a 5-time survivor.
Yeah, it wasn't my idea. It wasn't something that I planned to do. I woke up on September 17th, 2020 in the recovery room at Mayo Clinic in Jacksonville, Florida, after having had surgery to remove a really painful cancerous tumor below my right hip. And when I woke up from that surgery, I had an emotional breakdown. And the nurse, Jen, came over to me and held my hand and said, "Bill, what's wrong?" And I was really surprised what came out of my mouth because I did not see this coming. And it was, "I'm ready to give up. I'm not up for the fight anymore." I said, "I've had cancer. This is my fourth time with lymphoma. Actually, I'd just been diagnosed with prostate cancer a couple months before, so 6 cancers. And I knew what was coming with the treatment for that lymphoma that they had surgically removed. And I was wrong. It was worse than what I thought. But I'd said I had a great life, great family, I had strong faith, led a great life, and I was done. And so she smartly called the pastor in, Pastor Tanya, and we spoke for about an hour and a half. And she said, "Bill, you need to remember all the reasons why you should fight." And those reasons were to fight for my family, to fight for my friends, to fight for my meaningful work, and to fight to make God proud. And so after that hour and a half conversation, it really was a miracle. And I was really up for the fight like I'd never been before. So I think I'm done with this conversation. She says, "Bill, I've got one more thing for you." I'm like, "What?" She leans in and goes nose to nose. And she goes, "I want you to turn your pain into purpose and write a book to help others."
Yes.
So I thought about it for a second and I said, "Okay, I'll do it." Now, I was coming off of all sort of anesthesia, so I had good reasons to forget it or to not do it. But at the Potts house, a deal's a deal. Your word's your word. I told her I would do it. And then I'm like, now what do I do? So I reached out to a publisher I'd heard on a podcast I had been listening to. And the CEO calls me. She goes, "Bill, we want to do this book for you and with you." I'm like, "Why?" She goes, "I lost one of my best friends to breast cancer, and this is the book that I wish somebody had written for her, a book like What to Expect When You're Expecting, but for cancer, a book to guide people and their friends and family through their journey. So we want to do this with you." And I'm like, "Well, Jesse, that could be kind of a challenge because I'm not sure, I'm not 100% sure I'm going to survive this. But a deal's a deal, so let's get going." And so we did, and they were great. I had an editor that worked with me, and I wrote this while going through treatment and then post-treatment, and we got this thing finished 8 months before it was published. And so when it came out, it was really special to me. And in that conversation with Pastor Tanya in the recovery room, she really changed the purpose and trajectory of my life. And now my purpose became very different than it was before. And that is to guide and coach cancer patients through their journey, either through the book. And because of the book, I hear from cancer patients often, and I give them some guidance through the journey as well. So it's been remarkable.
Wow. Yes, I can imagine. It's liberating in a way. There's something about when I wrote my first book, it was just so freeing. There's something about writing. It's healing. It's almost like the depth of something in us, the depth of what we are, starts to listen. there's something about that. It's almost like talking to God too, having a conversation with God.
Yeah, I agree with you. And some things came out of it that I didn't expect before the book was published. A friend reaches out and says, "Hey, Bill, my friend has given up his fight with cancer, and he's ready to stop." And he said, "Do you think he could read your book?" I'm like, "It's not done yet. I've got a pre-published version I will give you to give to him." And even before the book was published, the goal was to impact one person. And he read it, and he started fighting, and continues to fight to this day. So I had the one before the book even came out. And what I also did not expect was hope. And I don't know why I didn't think about it, but I guess even the title of the book, which is, from a 5-time cancer survivor, for somebody going through it the first time, it provides them hope. And the piece I really didn't see coming was that people would reach out to me and said, "Hey, reading this book saved my life."
Right.
I'm like, "Saved your life?" Like, yeah, I wouldn't have gotten a second opinion if I hadn't read your book. And the second opinion where I went, really that saved my life. And I'm like, okay, let me lean into this. And every time the book's been out for a while, and every time I want to back away from working with cancer patients because it can be a little bit triggering, or doing media, for the book, I get reminded that no, this is what you're supposed to be doing. And somebody will reach out and say, "Hey, thank you," or somebody will reach out and I'll help them. And I realize this is not something I get to walk away from. When a pastor goes nose to nose with you and says, "Turn your pain into purpose to help others," that doesn't mean get the book and then be finished. It means keep going.
Yes, I love that. Keep going, right? Because that's what happens when we have a purpose, right, Bill? It really feels that way. This energy flows, in my case, effortlessly. It's just always present. When we have this vision, a clear vision. I think that's what it is that guides me in life a lot of times. So, but I don't have, obviously, the experience you had. I had a lot of suffering of different kinds, but not one that I imagined that I thought I could physically die. I think I did think about that could have happened in some dangerous situations, but not with an illness. So I allured that question off record. How do you make sense of suffering? Why do we suffer? Is that even a good question to ask?
That's a great question. We all suffer, and I think why depends on the person, right? And what you take from it and what you learn from it. Some people suffer and just suffer. Other people suffer and learn from it and can make a difference in their life. And for me, obviously, done a lot of suffering, through this journey, which started in 2002 and continues to this day. And it's not just the physical suffering, which has been a lot, but it's also the mental and emotional suffering of having to deal with, an incurable cancer. But suffering can make us stronger. It can break us, but it can also make us stronger. And so obviously I lean into what can I learn from this? Is there a purpose for it? For me, there has been. And I'm telling you, in a million years, I would never have guessed that something so good could come out of something so bad.
Right.
I kept my cancer a secret for so long, and it wasn't until Pastor Tanya leaned in and said, "Now do something with it," that all of a sudden now I could see the purpose in the suffering. There was purpose in the suffering as well, because my kids got to see through it. People around me got to see it, and they learned that this never give up spirit, that this positive attitude can make a difference. So there was a lot of people soaking up lessons just watching me go through this journey. I think that also gave purpose to that suffering. And my kids, I think, value me more. They value their own lives more, having gone through it. So it's a long answer to your question, but for sure, in my case, the suffering has been worth it, because what better purpose in life than to change or save lives, through your journey. And I maybe a billion years I never would have guessed it, but it was that comment from Pastor Tanya that changed my perspective and changed my life. And when a pastor goes nose to nose with you, and you need to listen, and I did.
Yes, yes, and yes. Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Mhm.
How beautiful. Listening to you now talk about this. I would love to hear from you some of the lessons that you have learned. What were the most profound ones that actually surprised you even to have learned those lessons?
Yeah, I mean, the one I learned the hard way was it's my journey, not the
Yeah.
medical care teams, that I need to
Mm,
own it, that I need
mm,
to advocate for myself. In
right.
2002, when I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer, I got three little kids. I'm young, and trying to make a living and support a family. My wife was doing the same thing, and I get
Yeah,
diagnosed with cancer.
right.
I did not know that it was my journey, and I let them tell me what to do without really questioning it. I didn't get the second opinion. I did not go to a big national cancer institute accredited cancer center. I went to a small local for-profit one. So
Yeah.
the biggest one, and this is appropriate not just for the cancer journey, but this is a life lesson. It's your
Mm,
life. You need to own it,
mm,
whatever you're doing. And if that's your career, if that's your family, if that's your health, you got to own it. So I learned that lesson up front in 2003
yeah.
when this same group of private oncologists told me my cancer was back after
Mm,
having been lit up with ridiculous amounts of radiation to cure
right.
it,
Right.
and it didn't add up. It didn't feel right, and I'm like, boy, I better get on it and own it myself. So that's the big lesson,
Yeah.
it's my journey.
Yeah.
I'm not a victim.
Mm,
I
mm,
don't have a victim mentality no matter what. It's like, now here's the problem, let's work it. And it's also changed my perspective and in so many ways on how I live life. So if you
yeah.
just look at, I've had to face the potential of dying, often, and had a couple close calls that all of a sudden the perspective on what's important in life
Mm,
shifts pretty dramatically.
right. Right.
And so
Right.
for me, I have to remember every day when I take this pill for my missing thyroid, I remind myself, why am I fighting? And what can I
Yeah.
do to be
Mm,
ready for when the cancer comes back? And so I live my life now very differently. It's
yeah.
it's 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 deep breathing, it's meditation, it's a really healthy diet, it's exercise, it's
Mm,
socialization, it's all those things that now
uh,
jump to the forefront of being prepared when my cancer comes back, which it will. So I'm always ready, always have been actually, since
yeah.
2008. I've been taking good care of myself, and so
Yeah.
much so that the doctors credit that with really helping me, go
Mm,
through and
yeah.
survive some of the things that I've been through. But even bigger to that question is to try to remember to live in the present, because
Mm,
tomorrow's not guaranteed, and to
yeah.
live in today. And so when I'm talking with you, I'm
Yeah.
100% focused on you. When I'm talking with my wife, my kids, my friends,
Yeah.
I'm in the present. Put down the phone, lean
Mm,
in,
mm,
and try to listen. When I'm outside walking the dog in the mornings, it's not just walking the dog. It's like, let's listen to the birds. Let's feel the breeze in my face. I mean, I
mm,
see life so differently.
mhm.
It's like it's like the colorblind person
Yes.
that puts on those glasses for the first time and all of a sudden sees all the brightness
Yes.
that they never saw before and the colors they never saw before.
Yes.
That is how I see life. And it's been
Uh,
it's been so, I guess the right word is amazing, because
yeah.
it's amazing. I see things that nobody
Yeah.
else sees. I mean, whereas, the kids playing next door making a racket might bother them. To me, when I hear kids playing, it's joyful. It's the noise
Mhm.
of happiness and fun and play.
Yeah.
I've got, for sure,
Yeah.
a different relationship with money
Ah.
than I did before.
Yeah.
It sounds cliche, but spend it on experience versus stuff.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
I don't worry about money as much because, like, I mean, you
Yeah.
know, when why should I worry about it?
Yeah.
Relationships, forgiveness,
Mm.
all those things
Yeah.
are better now because I've had to face death.
Right. Wow. I love listening to you. Thank you. Um, it sounds very spiritual, and I briefly mentioned that off record. Everything that you're saying. What is who is God to you, and do you have any let's say, insights into life after life, or any expectations about that, any visions?
Yeah. I mean, for me, God's ever present, omnipresent. I'm never alone. I'm with Him all the time. My Christian faith is super strong, so I pray for guidance and direction.
Yeah.
I don't fear death. It took me a lot of years to get my hands around that, but
Right.
I don't, because I know where I'm going, which is to heaven. So not fearing death, I believe and I know, has helped me fight it. Doesn't mean I don't want, I have a very strong urge to live, but I'm not scared of what happens next, which is pretty incredible, really, which also gives me hope. And so the hope word being so strong, yes, I have a lot of hope. I'm going to live to be 93 years old, which is my goal.
Yeah.
But I know
Yeah.
to do that, a lot of things are going to have to bounce right, and I will be who knows how many time cancer survivor by then. But I also know that if I don't get there, each day for me has been a blessing. It's been a gift.
Yeah.
So somebody asked me, what would be your last words before you pass? I'm like, it's just a word. Thanks. Man, what a great run. Think about it.
Yeah.
5 times. I'm
Yes.
65 years old now.
Yeah.
How could I have nothing to complain about? Every day is a bonus day for me. I wake up, I'm like, wow, I got another day. How cool is that?
Right.
To change your perspective, and it
Yeah.
also changes how I spend my time.
Yeah.
What do I want to do with it? I also now tell my friends that I love them. They tell me they love me back, which can be hard for a lot of people,
Yeah.
because it is. And I don't want to be that guy that didn't tell my friend that I loved him. And so I'm not, I do. And then he tells me back. And that's probably been one of the most magical things on this whole journey is the tightening up of relationships. Yes, some you lose. Some people run away, when somebody's diagnosed with cancer. But
Right.
for those that run away, there's usually somebody that
Right.
leans right in and does things that are unexpected and beautiful.
Wow. Yes. I just made some notes here. There's so many other follow-up questions. Just what do you mention about people running away? I heard, I interviewed somebody. Yes. Yeah. Oh, I forgot her name now, from California. And she said that too. Once her daughter heard that she was diagnosed with breast cancer, her daughter completely disappeared, never called her again, abandoned her in a way. She never returned her calls, never called her back, and it has been 15 years now. So, but do you, how do you feel about that? I'm wondering why would somebody do that? It doesn't make sense to me at all, but it happens.
Oh, it happens to every cancer patient. And so I used to not really understand it.
Right.
And I used to get frustrated and a little bit angry about it.
Yeah.
And then I realized it's not a reflection on me, it's a reflection on them.
Right.
And some people have a hard time knowing what to do, what to say, how to handle it. It triggers something else deep inside of them. So instead of being angry, I try to give them grace.
Yeah.
And if I can, I try to patch it up. I try to work on that. And so this is other advice I give other patients is if you've got a broken relationship somewhere in your life, whether it be family or friends, patch it up, because you don't want to be that person that is getting towards the end and has a regret. And nobody ever regrets forgiving somebody, and nobody ever regrets fixing a broken relationship. So it's so common amongst cancer patients, as it is kind of a whole thing. And when we talk with each other, but I just have to accept it and understand that's not because they don't love you. It's because they just don't know how to handle that emotion.
Right. It is connected to fear, right, Bill?
It is so much so.
Yes, it might be the fear. Yeah, that's kind of reminding them of their own mortality. Right. I mean, that's what comes to me, but I never had the experience.
Well said.
Yes, I don't
well
know.
Said.
Talk to me for a moment about the idea of heaven. You just mentioned that I don't know. I don't think you used the word believe. I think you said, I know I'm going to heaven.
Mm.
What is heaven to you? What is that like? And yeah, I would love to know, because my idea of heaven is the present moment. It's being here now. And this is heaven. And, but of course,
that is a great point, by the way.
yeah.
And yeah, I talk about my dog as a little angel that dropped right from heaven, and
Yeah.
because she's such an important part of our life. And
Uh,
there are so many, and this earth, it is remarkable. And I think your point's really good. You could easily say that this is, we're on heaven on earth, because there's so many amazing things here. For me, heaven is not earthly.
huh.
It is the place of comfort and peace that will be magical and remarkable, and I'll get to reconnect with some family members when I get there. But your point's also very well taken. That perspective actually is really interesting, and helps change my perspective relative to the beauty of living on earth as also heavenly. Wow, that's very well said.
Yes, that's that's an intuitive thing. I've been this way from pretty much all my life, so I never understood exactly why too. So yes, so that's why when you talked about the present moment, being present, being here, then that really resonated and caught my attention. It's because that's something that resonated with something deeply in me that feels like that's the truth. But yes, we don't, in a sense, we don't know, right? Once we lose the body, what will happen? But I love the idea of faith too. There's something about that. Another question is about the causes of cancer. Did you find out the specific? Is there something to look for? What caused? Do you have that in your family, or how? What caused the cancer in you?
Yeah, we have a pretty good idea of what it was. I worked in the Department of Nuclear Medicine when I was in college, and the standards where I worked were pretty loose. That hospital has subsequently closed, and so I was exposed to likely pretty dangerous amounts of radiation when I was working there, and so that would have likely caused the thyroid cancer.
Yeah.
And then the amount of radiation that I received, which was a pill, iodine-131, the same radiation that came out of Chernobyl, I was given in pill form and isolated in hospital for a long time until I actually was measured by a Geiger counter to be safe enough to leave.
Wow.
And so that radiation likely caused my lymphoma. We'll never know for certain. Right. But it's not uncommon for cancer patients to have second cancers and third cancers that are actually a result of the treatment they receive for another cancer. So that's what my team thinks.
Right.
And the prostate cancer, probably just a function of age.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you for disclosing this here. Did you consider alternative medicine, not just medicine, but also in a sense of crystal healing? There's all kinds of things that I interview so many people. I interviewed somebody from California too, who was diagnosed with cancer, and he decided not to go through radiation, none of the conventional medicine treatments, and he healed himself. And of course, I know other people. They did different things. They hired a team of energy healers. The other one was a crystal healer, Reiki healers, and then somebody that worked with, I think, Ayurveda with food, specific diet for cancer, healing the body so the body would go back to its normal state of balance. And then I have somebody else who went to Brazil. He went to the jungle there looking for shamans. So and he also was cured. It was like stage 4, actually. He was pretty much, nobody could help him here in the United States. So he went to Brazil and he was cured too. He had to do the work, of course, but they gave him instructions, basically herb medicine, something, and other protocols, of course. Emotions, that was big too, how to manage emotions. So I'd love to hear from you a bit about that, if you're open, of course. Have you thought about it or considered any of those?
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of stuff I do, and Here's my philosophy on it
Yeah.
is because I talk to so many cancer patients
Yes.
that I get a pretty good feel for this question.
Yeah.
And so my opinion is to flank the that with the modern healthcare system
Yeah.
for all its faults. I mean, it's obviously saved me 5 times and will probably save me a few more.
Mm.
However, there is a place for a lot of the alternative medicine, in particular, the importance of diet. So I hired a
Yeah.
nutritionist and a dietitian to work me through that. So
Yeah.
that I'm pretty dialed in on. I do
Yeah.
meditation, I do deep breathing, I do grounding, vitamin D therapy, make sure I spend some time in the sun
Yeah.
every day. I've got red light, I've got infrared UV red
Mm.
light therapy that I
Yeah.
use.
Yeah.
I have a magnetic therapy, which wasn't making, I didn't connect too much with that. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy,
Yeah.
which is something that I'll look at, but Mayo didn't want me to do it because I have, active cancer with the prostate.
Right.
So yes, I think it's those things can flank the
Yeah.
modern system, and then you have then the best chance in many cases of beating it. For those stories like you shared of success, I've also got patients that have gone off the traditional method in the U.S. and haven't had such good luck. So
Yeah.
I think it depends on each patient and depends on what they're comfortable with.
Yeah.
But flanking it, the current healthcare system with those other things
Mm.
can make a difference.
Yes, yeah. I love your openness, yeah, being receptive to different kinds of treatments. And of course, it's not one or the other, being also open to try both and see what works. But and then I heard about there was someone else. Yes, oh, that was my own experience when I went to France. I was in with a friend there, and then she introduced me to somebody else who had cancer. And what he was doing was something interesting. He was on conventional chemotherapy, doing the conventional treatment, but he was not eating for about a week. So every time he did the treatment, he would go on fasting. He intermittent fasting, actually, not intermittent. He just went not eating for about a week, and then he would go back to eating. And he, I think, he was doing really well for the last 5 years. That I never had heard about that before, but I actually saw him and I talked to him, and he looked so healthy because he was the week that he was eating. He looked so healthy, but he still had active cancer cells in his body, and he was alive for about 5 years. So the question is, do you also do fasting? Is that something that was recommended?
It was not. I am familiar with what you're speaking of.
Yeah.
For me, it was probably some accidental fasting. I was so sick from the chemo,
Not
so
eating anyway.
uh,
Yeah.
I was getting coached not to fast. I was getting coached to try to get some nutrition in, so I wouldn't drop too much weight. I
Right.
was already pretty small
Right.
and pretty thin, so it became a risk for me not to consume some calories. And
Right.
so the key, though, for those calories that I consumed, to make sure
Ah,
that they were good calories. So for me,
right.
a lot of fruits, a lot of vegetables, different colors, fruits, different color vegetables, particular for me, orange fruits, orange vegetables when I'm trying to boot my immune system, limit dairy, limit red meat, even limit not all meat because I do eat some lean white meat, but pull back some on that. And as long as I was doing that,
Yeah.
I was pretty comfortable with it. Even that was a challenge because there were times, I just was too banged up to even want to eat. I mean, I was so weak at
Right.
times I could barely even walk. So
Right.
I did not do fasting.
So yeah, you don't. But like you said, it depends on the person. It's very individual, right, Bill? It's
Hmm.
we need to listen to our own body and see how it feels. Yes, that's just a very curious thing because I do fasting, but I fast for about every day 16, 17 hours, and I really feel good on that. Not eating, it kind of makes me feel better for some reason, healthier. Uh,
I think that fasting works great for a lot of people, and it's nice to hear that you're having a good experience with it. I mean, I think there's some science behind the fasting for healthy people,
right.
and how it can help reboot your system. So that's good for you. Good for you. I might have to try it now that I'm feeling so good.
Yes, that's. I love how open you are, though. I mean that was just something that I noticed immediately. Just our communication to this point has been truly, truly beautiful. So thank you so much for letting your soul be seen and heard and felt. Thank you. I have my hands next to me together because, that's a really a true feeling, something that's coming from a beautiful place in me too, that's connected to you. I think it's the soul thing. What do you think about the soul and the spirit? Are they two different things? Different aspects?
It's a great question. I don't know, but I do know they're probably commingled. I mean, there's this dimension that we don't really understand, in our brains, but that we know it, right? My twins, communicate thousands of miles apart without talking, right? They can feel when they were little, they'd feel each other's pain, and that I know today. My wife was 30 miles away, and I was outside. I went to grab my phone.
Yeah.
As I picked it up, it rang, and guess who it was? It was her. So
yes,
our souls and our spirits are connected in ways that we don't even understand, but it's true. So are our energies. And this is why as a cancer patient, it's been so important for me to not only be positive, because that positive energy impacts the care team, it impacts those around you, and it makes things better, but also why I try to avoid negative energy. As a matter of fact, it was my daughter who called out. I met somebody playing tennis, had him over, and I had dinner. And my daughter pulls me aside and says, says, "Dad, you need to disconnect. This is not good. This is not what you want to be associated around. That there's too much negativity there. And you do not want to be around it because it will impact you." And I think she's right. What do you think about the spirit and the soul?
Yes. I love that. Her intuition, your daughter's intuition. That's it. Yeah. Because we feel it. Well, from what I understand, the soul is God itself. It's almost like this totality, the absolute reality. Let's say God. And then the soul, it's part of the creation of God, because God created everything. There's nothing that's not created by God. But then the soul, it's like this individualized experience of the divine that we all are, and everything is. But then from my perspective, because I'm a student of Vedanta, which is a Hindu philosophy, spiritual, very ancient, that I'm very dedicated to for a reason. So they explain that we are individual parts of God, basically God itself too, because everything is God. But some of us have forgotten. And that's why we have the separation, the soul's, kind of the soul's journey and all these idea of purpose. But in truth, we have been always whole. We've been always home. And there's nothing but God. Only God exists.
That is well said. Yeah. I agree with you.
It feels that way. I mean, it feels that way. It's hard to really experience, because I don't think God is an experience. If it is everything, then it's not. We can't really pin down, and then it's confusing for the mind to know. So that's why a lot of times, knowing in Vedanta, they saying that you know God, that there is already something that's not in alignment there with the truth, because only God can know himself, not the individual soul. So there's a lot there. This is another conversation. This would be a very interesting conversation to have. But who knows? One day, maybe we'll have that conversation.
Listen, I'd love to be back on your show. It's so good and so insightful and so thought-provoking. And I learned a lot just from this conversation today from you. So, the more of it, the better.
Thank you. Thank you for your beautiful presence, for there's, like I said, there's something about the soul, almost like free. It feels that way, your presence. It's that individual part of God kind of merging back. And now we can sense the perfume of that. I definitely can in you. It's just so beautiful. we're almost at the end. I know you have to go. You have an appointment. Do you have another 5 minutes, or should
Sure.
we end?
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
we'll go 5 minutes. Yeah, perfect.
I would love to hear. There's a lot of noise in front of my house. I apologize for that too. But talk to me for a moment about the business of cancer, because I talk to so many people, and I have, in a way, a hard time kind of pointing, judging, and separating, and even believing that there are people out there that are trying to hurt one another, really, really in a serious way. And then I hear a lot about the system and how there are people like that. So talk to me about the business of cancer, and what is your perspective on the medical system? And are they trying to hurt us, or this is just another illusory kind of perception of separation from God?
Obviously I've spent a lot of time in it, and to answer your question directly, I have never felt that anybody was not interested in my well-being, right? So I did have that situation in Houston where it felt like a little bit of a money thing, and that's why I went and got a second opinion and moved into a big cancer center with MD Anderson. And so in general, obviously, I've had cancer for 23 years and I'm still here. So I support it and I believe it, but it is a real challenge to navigate. And so thankfully, I have become quite the expert at navigating it. So if you can really spend the time to understand it, you can make it work for you. But I'm telling you, at MD Anderson Cancer Center, their goal is to get rid of cancer, period. At Mayo Clinic is to get rid of cancer, period. Memorial Sloan Kettering, all these places, the big cancer centers, they're really in it to get good results for the patient.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you for saying that. Bill, just a moment. For some reason, I received a message here from Riverside that we are not recording anymore, but it looks like we are. I see.
It shows. I got the same thing popped up, so I don't know, but it sounds like we are. If it's not, we can. If it's not, we can reboot this thing when I get back from the dock.
Right. Yeah, you can leave your window open. I think if you leave it open, it will upload. But I'm not sure if we are recording. It shows you recording, so it seems like we recorded that part too. But yeah, so thank you for saying that. Going back to that question, answering that question. So you feel like that there is the effort, really the sincere effort to cure cancer from some institutions. Right.
That's for sure. That doesn't mean there aren't bad actors, because obviously I ran into them a while ago. So as long as you're aware of that, but in general, my experience has been fantastic, and that's including with the pharmaceutical companies. I've seen where some of my chemotherapy is made. I've talked to the people making it. I've looked them in the eyes, and it is about what's doing right for the patient. And so I feel really good about it because, look, I've got to know some of these people, and I've yet to meet anybody in the pharmaceutical industry that has not been patient-centric.
Yes. That's wonderful to hear. So it seems like different people have different opinions, right? They different experiences, because I have interviewed people and met some people who had. They wrote a whole book about the system and how it was not supporting of their cancer journey. But this is it's speaking to you now. It feels like it's a perspective in a way, isn't it? It might be a perspective.
It's perspective, and it's also I'm owning my journey, right? So I've been to different cancer centers. I get second opinions. I always know what my next move is going to be on the chessboard relative to my healthcare. So I'm planning ahead.
Right.
I'm doing my research. I'm doing my homework, and maybe I've been lucky, but I heard from my oncologist at MD Anderson when I turned 65. I said, thank you for getting me there. And he says, Bill, we're going to get you to 99. And I'm like, okay. And I'm getting text from the doctor. So what better service can you get than that?
True. Yeah, that's beautiful. That's very supportive and nurturing. I see all of it in it. Oh, yes. Yeah. And I believe you. I believe, yes. Yeah. You have this beautiful energy around you that I can't help it. Thank you. Because there's something about, well, for me, because of course, I don't have the experience. I don't have I don't have health insurance because I want to take care of myself. So it's all about responsibility, being responsible for my own body, for everything. So, I do it on purpose. So I don't have a backup. I cannot, no plan B. Of course, I probably would have, but I try to avoid the type of thinking or idea. So, but
it's working for you.
Yeah, it is right. It is so far so good. You never know. So it has been amazing, the experience of being in your presence, even prior to the interview. I really not just admire you for your courage, but I thank you for being open to life, because death is life too. I know a lot of people don't see it that way, but it's all life. And then if we love life, then we love all of it. It's pretty much, it goes for everything. If you love yourself, you cannot just love parts of yourself and reject other parts. You cannot feel whole that way. So that goes for everything. And from my perspective, that's my practice, my spiritual practice. So kind of working on practicing to embody wholeness, basically, if I can put it into words.
You did it beautifully. You're amazing. You're a blessing.
So thank you for doing that. Thank you for seeing in me what I see in you, and thank you for being open to life as this beautiful journey of life. That to me is not even a journey, because I don't see a destination. I see it as a song. I keep saying the word, intuitively, oh, let's dance, as if that's what this is, let's just dance, appreciate what we have here and now. And that might change everything. Perspectives, it might even cause we become more faithful, perhaps most trusting of life itself. There's something about embracing life as it is, as it happens, without rejection and pushing away. And I feel like you've done exactly that. That's why your energy is so beautiful and pure. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. By the way, the song is "Just Dance" by Leanne Rimes, and it's amazing. And so it shares those same values that you just shared, which is just dance.
Yes,
it's life. It's beautiful. It's great. Just dance.
Yes, life is a song. It
Love
really
that.
is.
Love it.
I mean, I love your perspective, because you're speaking from experience. I am too. I've suffered a lot, but not really with emotional and physical abuse, but it's not really, it was not with any illnesses. So I don't have your perspective, but I do come from deep suffering as well. So I guess I can relate.
Perspective.
Yeah,
just different.
Yes. So your website is billcpotts.com, Potts, Potts, and it will be clickable on the podcast notes and everywhere where the episode is live, and it will be found. In your book too, it will be here, the link to your website, and Amazon as well. I'll have all the links here clickable, so it's easier that way.
Thank you for having me on your show. I appreciate the time with you, and I hope we get to do it again. Yes,
Bill. I would love that. So before we say goodbye, is there anything that you left unsaid for this conversation?
Yeah, I think that the one thing I'd want to leave with your listeners is, we talked about it before, but live in the present. And there's folks that are listening that have a broken relationship or estrangement. This is the time to fix it. This is the day to pick up the phone or send a text and do it. Because I've been there, and I've had the feeling of, whoa, I need to fix these relationships, and I got close to the edge a couple times. And so do it. And if you do that, then listening to this podcast will not only have been a great one, but it will change your life.
Yes, 1 billion times to that truth. Thank you so much again for your beautiful presence, and we'll talk soon. We'll be in touch again, Bill.
All right.
Bye
Look
for
forward
now,
to
my
it.
dear.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening. To learn more about Bill Potts and his work, please visit billcpotts.com.
learn more about this podcast, please visit fitforjoy.org/podcast. Thank you again for listening, and bye for now.